Hi, my name is Steve Toth, Content Marketing Manager at TechWyse, and welcome to the Wyse in 5. Today I'm going to talk about a psychologist I read about named Dr. Robert Cialdini, and he studied influence professions, more particularly how people influenced each other. So he studied people like lawyers, salespeople, doctors, teachers, people who needed to influence others in their job, and he studied their training. And what he found was that there are 6 universal principles of influence that everybody uses. And there are lots of different tactics, but it all boils down to 6 principles. So what's kind of interesting about this is the better you know these principles, the more aware you can be of when people use them on you. So with that said, I'm going to get into these point by point. There's 6 of them, so bear with me. The first point is reciprocity. This is the simple idea of when someone gives something to you, you want to give back. So a couple examples of this would be in a grocery store. You take that sample of cheese, it's really hard to walk away from that and not even listen to what kind of cheese it is or even buy the cheese itself. So that's just one method that marketers use, one way that marketers use the principle of reciprocity. Another would be just in everyday life. When someone invites you to a party, it'd be very hard not to invite that person to your party, unless you were maybe in high school. But in adult life, we'd find that very difficult. So that's another interesting way that reciprocity has effects in everyday life. In terms of relating this to IM, just giving something like this video, writing a blog for the community. Those are all symbols of giving something to someone when they want to give something back to you. So the next one I'm going to go into is the principle of commitment and consistency. This is just simply fulfilling your word, following up properly. It's actually noted that when people were called during an election and asked if they were going to vote for a candidate, that they'd be much more likely to vote if they promised that they would than anybody who wasn't called at all. So that's why they do it. So yeah, internet marketing, account managers, follow up, so important and actually helps you be more influential. Third is the principle of consensus and social proof. This is about people wanting to be influenced by people similar to them. There's a really interesting study done in a hotel chain where it was all around how people recycled their towels. So they found that the initial message was just like, recycle these towels because it's good for the environment. That was okay, it was effective, so that about 30% of people did recycle their towels. But when they changed the message to 30% of people in this hotel recycle their towels, the rates went through the roof. And actually they went even further through the roof when they said the percentage of people, let's say 50% of people in this room recycle their towels. They found that drove it up even further. Number 4, scarcity. This is, when supplies are running out, people tend to want to grab a deal, right? So it was actually found more effective to say that supplies have run out versus there are just a limited quantity of them, because that actually combines the principle of social proof and scarcity together, because we're saying, there were many of these things that everybody did buy and now there's only a few of them left. So it actually works really well in influencing people to buy. An example for internet marketing would be like, we're running a special this month where you can get 25% off your setup fees, or you're gonna discount your blog writing for 3 months or something like that. So that would be a way that you could apply this to internet marketing. The 5th one is authority and credibility. So just your dress. Perhaps I should have worn a blazer to make this point a little bit, drive it home a bit more, but I didn't do that today, so you're just going to have to trust me. Anyway, another way that people show their authoritativeness and their credibility are like, have you ever been to a doctor's office or maybe a law firm and seen all those degrees up on the wall? That's really just that simple principle in action there. Another one, which I found super interesting, was Warren Buffett's holding company, Berkshire Hathaway. basically in their annual reports, they never start out with something that's positive. They always start out with something that's negative or didn't go the way they wanted to. And then they go on into all the great stuff. Great way to build your authority. So with internet marketing people, actually one way you can do it is just to speed up your speech a little bit. So don't be afraid to get nerdy and talk to your clients, and you'll seem more authoritative that way. The last one is the principle of liking. People want to do business with people they like and know. So it's a good idea to ask your clients, you know, what did you do on this weekend, or how was your son's soccer tournament, or things like that. It'll actually be really helpful in building your relationship, and it will give you something to come back on later on in the conversation, or, you know, through the relationship. So, you know, people are especially influenced by people who are similar to them. So if you can show a similarity with your audience, you know, talk a bit about the struggles of being an internet marketer, or, you know, challenges with Google recently, or something like that, and you build that sort of rapport with your audience, you'll actually be more likely to influence them. So all this is to say that persuasion, influence, as much of an art as we may think it is, there's actually a lot of science to it. So I hope you enjoyed this. My name is Steve Toth. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on google.com/+Steve Toth. Thanks a lot.